Greetings, Sir and Sirettes, and welcome back to Nimbatus with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to a lovely planet which just so happens to be absolutely infested with hives. And today, we ask the simple question of, can we truly kill them with fire? Now the thing is, after the last video, the main goal I sort of had in my head was to perhaps go to the centre of one of the lava worlds, one of the magma planets, whatever they're called, and just try to survive the flames by using the coolers and by using the new heat-resistant versions of the regular tiles. As you can see, the plating is normal, heat-resistant or cold-resistant, although the resistant versions are a little bit, well actually 50% weaker than the regular blocks in terms of HP, which is a pretty big downside, but if you're not going to be burnt, it's also a pretty big upside. But instead of all this, I've decided to do something a little bit more simple and honestly a lot more fun. We're going to see if we can weaponize the heaters. Now the heaters are really powerful. It doesn't take long to completely heat up one of these drones to a ridiculous level. Now sadly they do also take a lot of power, so let's just have a quick check and we turn it on, and as you can see it's actually turned off because there's not enough power. Yeah, it's a little bit insane just how much you need for this. There we go, now it can heat up, and it's still flickering, but as you can see we are now taking damage, and anything nearby would take that damage with us. We will very quickly heat up those around us. So is there a reliable way to make this into a weapon? And I think there's two ways. The first way, which would be the easier, quote-unquote way, would be something like this. So we have our heat-resistant plating, and then we have our heater down here. As soon as I can find it again, it's in the defensive section, yes it is. And then we just completely cover the entire thing with the heat-resistant paneling, thus giving it some protection, but also meaning we don't burn ourselves too much. Now sadly, the heat does actually go through these panels. It's not like the panels will make you immune to the heat. So even if we do this, let's say, there we are, and then we put the heater in the middle here, it will still damage the core itself. So you do have to have it quite far away, and having shields nearby isn't really an option either. So if we do that and then give it some power, you'll see that it's still going to burn us. And as you can see, we are now burning alive because we're too close to it. So insulating ourselves isn't really an option. This also goes for the heat sources on a planet, such as the magma or some of the eggs and some of the different enemies. You can't really insulate yourself in a way which means you're going to be completely protected. But of course, if you wanted to weaponize this, just have the armor at the bottom with the heater in and then have a normal drone. So you just get close to an enemy and then heat them up until they die. The second option, which is the option we're going to go with, is essentially fire missiles. Missiles which have one purpose: to get to the target and then stick to them, either using magnets or using manual control. Probably not both, although we could do both, I just don't think it's as fun. And then stick to an enemy, burn it alive, the enemy dies, hip hip hooray. And hopefully that also works for the hives. So let's design our nice basic missile. Now honestly I have done this before, so it shouldn't be too difficult, which probably means it's going to be incredibly difficult because it is me at the end of the day. So we're going to want thrusters, obviously. We're going to want this thing to be able to move at a decent pace. So let's just do that. Then let's put down some fuel. Now the one problem is, unlike in older updates, you can no longer have the energy satellites. You can't have energy from this powering this, basically. So it will have to carry its own energy source. And since we want the heater at maximum temperature, it's going to cost an absolute fortune. Also, hopefully you can't hear the bells in the background currently because the church is going a little bit mad nearby. Apparently there's a wedding or something, so huzzah for that. Well done to them. Now, I do want a camera tracker, but that can go last. I do want this, and I want this to follow my cursor. Hello! And that can just be, let's say 4 and 5 for now. Actually, no, I don't really care about that right now, because I'm going to do something weird with that later. Do want these to just be attached to 1. Make it easy on me. And then what we're going to do is have a series of switches on the main craft. Now, please forgive me when it comes to the logic gates. I still have very little experience in them. I'm going to make mistakes or do things inefficiently, but I will try to improve in the future. Okay, I've just swapped the toggle to 2, because I think that'll be a lot easier. So, release, 2, and there we go. We can now watch our missile. And then go back to that, back to the missile, back to that, back to the missile, back to that, back to the missile, and hello, parent. Okay, the weapon is now installed as well, and that's going to be triggered by number 3. That is not quite as strong as I imagined, honestly. It takes a little while to heat up, but it should be good enough. It really should. Now, at the front, we probably want some armor. In fact, we could do a shield, but then that's going to take a lot of extra power, so this thing's going to be even larger than it already is. Okay, well, just for now, let's test this out. Let's go into the world. And let's just make sure the hives can actually burn, shall we? So, on that, there we go. Let's find ourselves a hive. And activating the heating element. And there we go. Hello, friends. And now I'm assuming that we've just lost the camera, but that hive will eventually die because it is now on fire. Would be nice to be able to get multiple of them. Also, I'm thinking that maybe I'll put the thrusters on a separate switch. Or we just don't run a feedback loop, because right now one activating one basically means you can never turn it off even if you press 1 again, so you may as well just have a button and not a switch. So instead, what if we activate Q? And then the thrusters and everything else are attached to Q instead. Is that going to cause any problems? Well, first of all, this needs to be changed from 1 to Q. Oh, that is a problem, actually, because that's now linked to these. Ah. So what we're going to want then is the thrusters and the decoupler on separate buttons. So now this should work. Okay, yeah, we can swap over. We can let go. And then we can activate our thrust. And also deactivate it, which means we can then get out of whatever we're currently attacking. So hopefully we can actually burn down multiple targets and have a bit more control about what we're doing. Now, one thing I don't like is how wobbly all these look, so let's attach these to the core instead. What I could do is get some regular blocks to make this a bit more sturdy, but I don't really want the extra weight is the problem. Let's do this. So you should be set to that, okay? It's like the insulation does sort of work more than I thought it did, but not completely. In fact, maybe it does work. Yeah, that is actually not going to die now. That is interesting, although, for some reason, I can no longer swap back to my normal camera. What's going on there? I can now. So I release. Still can. Is it due to damage, maybe? Still can. But yeah, clearly insulation might actually be a thing. It's not causing the fire effect. And now I can't swap. That's odd. I don't know why I can't swap over. It's not dead, but I'm not allowed to swap back to my normal camera angle. So maybe I should allow it to die then. I don't quite know what's going on there. Maybe I'm missing something obvious. Meet the cooler. Ah, the problem is though, you need power. So once that's dead, it's still going to have the same effect. Oh well. If we hold that down though, it should hopefully stop it from getting so hot it stops functioning. In fact, maybe the cooler being active at the back is a great idea. And now we can still swap. Excellent, so maybe then I can put that on the same button as the heater. So, when the heater's on, the cooler's also working at the back. I'm sure you could balance this so a lot of it can survive. It's just the heater itself going to cause all the damage. Okay, let's test this out once again. Next step in our little plan here, of course, is to have multiple, all able to fire independently. Now, ideally, this should actually be quite simple. Yeah, it should be quite simple, just a little bit boring, placing replicas of all the stuff we've already placed, so each of them have their own controls, and we don't end up, well, launching them all at once, because right now that won't work correctly. Yeah, since they're all going off each other's movement, it's not really going to work properly. Okay, let's get this sorted. Okay, so I've pretty much just duplicated the original ones into these two with separate controls, and this should work just fine. So, first one, release, that works just fine. Yep, now that's active. We can swap over to its camera. We can move around and turn off the thrust if necessary, and yep, the heater is still working. Lovely. And I'll just leave that over here to burn away. Second one then, swap to the camera, release. All is well and good, and once again, we can set off the burner. And I just accidentally released last one without paying attention. I should have turned off your thrusters. Well, while we're here, let's make sure this works. Yes, it does. And once again, I can swap back to the controller. Okay, so let's do this then versus the planet. I just realised we automatically fall into here, which is actually quite a safe place for the base. So it kind of looks like we're firing out of here. So, first one. That's odd. The camera is tracking it, but really weirdly. What on earth is going on there? What? Okay, now it's working fine. Same controls, by the way. It must be something to do with falling into there. Hello. Oops, didn't mean to do that. There we are, just nestle yourself in the middle there. There we go. And that's two of the hives dealt with one missile. Let's just swap back. Now let's see if it happens again. I'm really hoping it doesn't. Nope, didn't do it this time either. That's really weird. Okay, what we want is two again. Let's see if we can find another two hives in very close proximity. Oh, trying to control this thing is not the easiest. Okay, close enough? Maybe. Oh dear. Come on, you can do it! We've lost all control, but hopefully this is going to fall in the right place, which it has. I have no idea, though, if it's going to do enough damage, I guess. We'll find out a little bit later. Still need to destroy two, then. Hello. Maybe a shield would be worth it. Oh, you guys are really, really warmed up, but sadly not to the lethal level. Yes, there we go. And eventually those two should pop. They were in the damage range. I don't seem to be able to actually... Yep, there we go. Destroy all hives complete. We killed them with fire, and it actually worked. That was glorious. Now, of course, on these planets, not so much in terms of working. Oh, saying that all we have to do is destroy the transmitter, so fine. Let's try that again, then. Let's try and find that transmitter. Oh, yeah. Fine controls on this thing aren't the easiest, especially when you're used to having a stabilized drone, not... Oh, hello! Transmitter must be around here. There it is. Hello, bud. There we go. It's gonna nestle in right there. In fact, we might as well try and kill some of you guys while I'm at it. Come on, get closer to me! Well, it worked. Let's try and kill some of them anyway. So, next one. Swap to the camera this time first. There you go, I'm slowly getting used to the controls. And thankfully, it's left a little blip on the map, I've just realised, in the top right. So I know that I'm close to it now. There we are. Hey guys! I think there's one of you now red hot and dying. This is where a magnet would be good. If I was after the swarms, I'd definitely use a magnet. Darn it. Oh, kind of threw it at them. Last one. Ow. Could have made the whole thing wonky there, but sure. Okay, one of them's dead. It seems like as soon as they're on fire, they are essentially dead. There's no way they can actually recover from it. Can you burn each other, maybe? Yes, there we go. All of them dead. Okay, then. Before we call the episode, because honestly, there's not all that much more I really want to do. Let's do a little bit of tweaking with this one. So the one on the far left, let's add a magnet ability. So you're just going to have a magnet, and it's just going to be manually controlled. Max radius, max strength. That's going to take so much power, though, isn't it? Yeah. Should be okay still. And also that hitbox is correct. Those little side bits aren't actually part of the hitbox. So this should work. In theory. I like how this technically goes towards the target as well, without actually activating the back thrust. Now, the enemies are over here, weren't they? I believe. Yes, they were. They turn on magnets, and they turn on the heater as well. There we go, they're all stuck to me. Come on, get back here, thank you. All but one, it seems. And maybe you can heat him up? Darn, not quite. But we did still kill the transmitter anyway. So yeah, the swarm killer also definitely works. In fact, I might go back to the last planet, the one we have to kill the hives, and let's see if it works better on them. Let's find one of the hive ones, that is. I can't remember which planet it was. Was it you? Oh yeah, it's definitely you, because that's how we got this area explored. Lovely. Hello, swarmy swarmies. Where are you? Oh, I can see one over there. Okay. The magnet's on full, but it's not really doing anything. That's interesting. Is there not enough power? Oh, yes, definitely not enough power, because the heater also turned off then. That's interesting. So maybe the magnet, it looks like it's on. It's certainly giving the appearance of being on. Let's just turn this on for a second. Oh, no, wrong buttons. It's working there. As you can see, they're all attached. Do the magnets not work on the swarms? Oh, I guess maybe they don't since they're not metal. Well, they definitely work on the ones with the transmitters anyway. That's the important thing, really. Shame you can't change the radius of the heaters as well. That'd be really interesting. Here's a thought. Does the TNT detonate when damaged by fire? Let's find out. Attach you there, attach you there. No, don't attach them all together, thank you. Just a single TNT, just down the center. I guess we could also just do this. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? This way, we have a backup to our weapons. And once again, these can all just be toggled. They don't even have to be attached to any switches or anything. So let's just, for now, see how they work with the heat. There we go. Let's get a little bit further away. There we are. Instant detonation. In that case, it's not going to work. We could have them at the back maybe, but the idea was in my head that it would give a nice final explosion. There we are. A nice final explosion once the damage has got so bad it's gone through the rest of the craft. But if it's going to just detonate as soon as it's overheated, then there's not much more we can really do. Well, with that though, I'm afraid I am actually all out of time for today's video. I've had a lot of fun, and this is certainly a very cool idea. I don't know how practical it is. I think the TNT is probably still going to be better, but it's definitely a very fun way of dealing with enemies, and the fact we managed to do several planets, it shows that it definitely works, and I will be trying to improve this in the future, and if you have any suggestions on how to improve it, then of course, tell me in the comments below. In the next video, we will most likely be trying to make a completely heat-resistant drone, which can go to the center of one of the lava worlds. So, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then of course, likes, favorite, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Nimbatus is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.